All right, boys and girls, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. Technically, the second half of the season got underway a long time ago, but technically the second half started last night. Mets, Phillies, they gave us one game on a Thursday. Today they gave us 14, but we're actually getting 15 because we have a doubleheader, which means we've got day games as well. But this is the first time I've seen the guys in a few days, so let's go around the horn quick. Brian, how was the couple days off?
It was great. I like to sleep anyway because I'm an older guy, but I haven't slept that much in a long time. And the sad part was I was so excited about doing the show today, I couldn't fall asleep last night. So here I am again at 6:00 in the morning, a little bit out of it. But yeah, it's a nice break. I saw a lot of our colleagues. Teddy Covers is up in Michigan. That's where he's from. A lot of guys got to travel around the break. I know Marco and Ralph Michaels were in Pittsburgh, so a lot of guys were traveling. I was sleeping.
Yeah, when you do this, you're kind of at the whim of the sports schedule. So this is like a popular sort of vacation time for handicappers. If there's not many times of the year, depending on what sports you do, that you can just kind of get away for a week. This would be that time. Tokyo Brandon, how was the couple days off for you?
Yeah, Japanese baseball, they don't have their all-star break until the 22nd or something. So I've been betting Japanese baseball the whole time, but no shows. Been doing a couple videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm number 2 the last 3 days and number 1 the last 7 days because of Japanese baseball. So I've been winning some bets in the meantime and catching up on my sleep.
Yeah, I saw you at a 6-0 day in Japanese baseball the other day. So shout out to you. And hopefully people took our advice, because I think on our special Sunday show, I was like, listen, this is when you should be using that 3-day on TV, get the Japanese baseball plays. Then he comes out and goes 6-0. So shout out to you. Also, tell them about the show you're going to do tonight if you're interested in Asian baseball.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before the show. Adam and Bryan both have a 5% play today. So I recommend you get a double play and take those two guys, and then watch my KBO show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to do a live show where I'm going to go over the KBO stuff for tomorrow, and an MLB show on Sunday morning as well, just to fill in the gaps that WagerTalk does not cover.
Yeah, so there's a full slate of KBO. It starts at 5 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So either if you're on the East Coast, you're getting up early. If you're out with Bryan, you're staying up very late for the 2 a.m. local start. But yeah, check out TV's KBO show. We've got the chat starting to populate here. So without further ado, let's get into Friday's games. There's a bunch of good ones to talk about. Tokyo Brandon, I'll come right back to you because I feel like this is, Japanese, Asian baseball, our feature game tonight. Yankees, Dodgers, Roki Sasaki on the mound. Many think this might be a World Series preview. People thought it would be a World Series preview last year. That didn't happen, but the Dodgers are always there. So Yankees, Dodgers to you. Do you have an angle in this game?
Yeah, Sasaki takes the mound for the Dodgers. He's actually never faced the Yankees before, so we don't really have any samples to go from on that. And Garrett Cole for the Yankees, he obviously has gone against the Dodgers quite a bit. 138 at-bats against, with a 225 average, 654 OPS. Nothing great, nothing horrible. I definitely am surprised when I look at the rankings here that I have both the Dodgers and Yankees kind of even in batting in current form. But you know what? You kind of got to throw out current form because after the day off, it's kind of a start over. So I'm going to go light today, which is why I don't have a 5%. These guys have 5% today. They're going right out of the gate. But yeah, I expect the bats to be a little cold for both sides, but Sasaki can heat some bats up. He hasn't been missing a lot of bats. He's got a 1.3 plus whip. Garrett Cole's good, but he hasn't been real good this season. But his whip is still 1.20, which is not terrible. His ERA is a little high, which means he's not putting that many guys on base, but he's giving up some home runs. Dodgers not the team you want to do that against. I think the number's pretty fair in this one. Pretty even both ways. I would give the Yankees a slight edge today, but I'm probably not going to bet them. Bullpen wise, I think the Yankees have a bit of an advantage here. So if I were to bet it, I would take the Yankees, but I probably will just enjoy watching this and see how Sasaki does.
This is my single favorite day of the year to bet Major League Baseball. I almost always have a 5% play today. Reason being, I think you get so it's basically opening day, but with in-season results. You've had 4 days to sort of look at these games. Every team has pretty much their full complement of bullpen arms, but also something I find very interesting here. What the books tend to price these games as if this is just Monday after the Sunday series is ending, when it's very much not. This is a true restart. Guys have gone home for 4 days. So some of that, this team's hot, this team isn't hot stuff doesn't really apply anymore. I don't care that you lost 9 straight games. I don't care that you won 8 straight games. None of that applies. This is a reset. This is a restart right here. And then you have guys that went to the All-Star break and guys that didn't. There's so much going on here. This is my favorite day of the entire year to bet Major League Baseball. That's why I have a 5. Didn't talk about Yankees Dodgers at all, but Bryan, if you want to comment on that and then go into this game.
Yeah, I will talk about it. And yeah, you're right. It's totally different handicap today. First of all, and I do a lot of work with the bullpens. All the bullpens are in great shape. They've had the time off. They'll all be in good shape. Some teams still have some guys injured. I know the Padres still have 2 of their key guys in the bullpen injured, but overall, they're all coming in pretty healthy, and this is a good time to be betting today. So I'm in agreement. This is a day that it's anytime you get a day that you got a little bit of a different handicap, I think is an advantage for the bettors, because the lines makers have to put these lines up bright and early. And not only do you have that situation going today, you also have starting pitchers who are off their regular routine. TB has talked about this for years, and we've got guys going from their last start was anywhere from 6 days ago to 12 days ago. And that's Cage Zavala. The last time he pitched was 12 days ago. So it's an additional thing to handicap in these games. And you're also getting in just for today, we're getting, normally we talk about the weather a little bit, and there's a little bit of weather, but the wind's blowing out in the majority of the ballparks. They should have higher scoring games. It's hot out there for most places, but we got to worry about some weather conditions today with the wildfires in Canada. The 2 games I'm most concerned about are this game in New York City. They may have a little bit of rain. They may have, and they definitely will have some smoke out in this game. But Cleveland also is a game that, with Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I'm concerned about with the smoke. Hopefully, they'll be able to get these games in, especially with these 2, because they're interleague games, and the Dodgers at the Yankees and Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So hopefully they can get those games in. But smoke is a concern for those games. I am going to start off with the first game we talk about, and I'm going to use this as my play in the parlay today. I'm going to take the Yankees with Garrett Cole over Sasaki. We've talked about in the past about the Dodgers. The games don't mean anything to the Dodgers. Well, they mean a lot to the Yankees right now. They did not finish off the first half the way they would have wanted to. Now they got to deal with the red-hot Boston Red Sox. The game means a lot more to the Yankees. Obviously, they're at home against the Dodgers, which is always big. But Sasaki has not pitched well on the road all season long. He gives up a lot of home runs, and last place you want to be if you give up a lot of home runs is in Yankee Stadium. So we're looking at basically the game as a pick-em with a total of either 9 to the over 20 or 9.5 to the under minus 25. I like the Yankees in this one. Garrett Cole, he's had a couple of hiccups along the way, but hey, he's coming back from a long time off. I trust him more than I trust Sasaki. Sasaki's got some control problems as always, and that's another concern when you're playing in a good ballpark where you can score some runs, is putting those extra guys on. So I think the line is fair, more than fair right now for the Yankees. So I'm going to use the Yankees at basically a pick 'em, minus 105 either way in this game. And I'm fine with laying up to 110, and I see 110 out there, but most of them you're laying 105, and so I'm going to play the Yankees here. I like the situation for them better. I like them being at home, and Garrett Cole has pitched a lot more big games in the major leagues than Sasaki did, at least starting wise, because if you remember when he was so good in the playoffs last year, he came out of the bullpen. So game means a lot more to the Yankees, and I'll go with the Yankees here.
Yeah, I agree. I like that too. Yankees minus 105 is what I'm seeing most places. The Yankees won 4 games going into the break, but I think it's an interesting point because they didn't really play well. They were very fortunate to win all of the games in that National Series. That was pretty much just the Nationals bullpen blowing games. I don't think if the Yankees were to look at their last sort of 10 games heading into the break, I don't think that they would feel that they played good baseball. They didn't play great against the Rays, and then to win those games is nice, but they didn't play a good game in that National Series. They just happened to win 3 games late against the Nationals bullpen. So, Brian, I'm with you. I think the Yankees are a play-on team in the second half. I think you're going to see this team, and they're 12 games over 500, but I think you're going to see them establish themselves as the team to beat in the American League. I think they're going to start to become even more elite as guys come back. They've actually got 6 guys at AAA right now that could potentially contribute. Ben Rice has emerged as the leader. I like where this team is going right now, and I still think the Dodgers could be spinning their wheels a little bit for a minute. So I'll co-sign that one. I like the Yankees here. Let me get back to the chat. TV, I'm coming back to you, but first, I've got to shout out some people in the chat. So when the show goes live, it eliminates the chat comments from prior to the show. So Freebird hit us with a donation, but I can't pull it up on the screen because it's not there anymore. But shout out to Freebird. Shout out to Grant's dad. He says, appreciate y'all. You've been good for my wallet since discovering your channels recently. Grant's dad, we love to have you. I love that old school Florida Marlins logo. We're Florida Marlins fans on the show, of course. If you hopped on that future at plus 980, you're sitting in a good spot right now. And then shout out to Mike Scott. Mike Scott says, good morning from Seattle. Had to come support my guys. Please give us an over you like for today. So Tokyo Brandon, I'm coming back to you. Dealer's choice here. What is the best over that you see on the board today?
So earlier today, on my Twitter X account channel, I put my pitcher matchup rankings up, and taking a look at those, I think Tampa Bay and Boston looks like an over to me. Just given the pitcher matchups, given the way these teams are hitting right now, I like how Tampa's hitting. I like how Boston's hitting. But again, current form doesn't mean a whole lot. But I do think both of these pitchers are a little bit vulnerable. So that would be one over I would look at. Another over. Well, okay, I'll just stop there. There's a couple more.
No, TB. I'm glad you brought that game up. So that's a doubleheader today. What matchup do you like for the over? What pitching matchup? Is it Jax Bennett that's showing the most value?
No, it's the second one.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Hang on.
That's fine.
Got to find it. Oh, the one with Englert pitching.
Yeah.
So I think he's I think he's very vulnerable, and with Boston not decided who they're putting out there, plus the fact that it's a game 2, people could be in a little bit of tatters with bullpens used. I think game 2 would be one that I would like to go over on.
TV, that makes a ton of sense, especially if you get the bullpen usage in the first game. Brian, I'll bring you in here. We'll kind of just talk this doubleheader, general thoughts. TV has already said, over in game 2 makes some sense if there's bullpen usage in game 1. There's a good chance you're going to get bullpen usage in that first game because Griffin Jax, Jake Bennett's a really good matchup. It's hard to see that being a blowout either way.
Yeah, I agree. 2 guys I'm looking to bet on right now. Englert probably is going to go 2 innings, something like that. So you're going to get a bullpen game out of it. The good thing is both bullpens are in really good shape here. So they'll be able to use the bullpens. That shouldn't be a factor. I'm seeing that Rivera is probably going to get the start for Boston. We're not showing anything on our line service right now for either, but that's what I'm expecting to come out there. If we're looking at totals on today's game or today's card, excuse me, like I said, there is some wind blowing out of some of these games. I would not be surprised if the Washington Athletics game goes over. We're looking at a total of 10 right now because Gage Jump is on the hill against Savali. I mentioned Savali. It'll be 12 days since the last time he pitched. Jump's been very good, but this is a really tough ballpark, and they're expected to get some good weather conditions in Sacramento in this one. So the 10 I think is a little bit cheap here. We already know that Washington is probably the most consistent offense in baseball, and they did not end the first half well hitting wise. So maybe they just got tired. I don't know what it was, but I would expect them to come out with a good game. And, the Athletics are missing some key players in that lineup, but they could still score some runs. And Savali's a guy that you really never know what you're going to get. Some days he's really good. Other days he's very inconsistent. And after not pitching in 12 days, I think the A's can get to him a little bit. So I kind of like that over 10 in that one.
Tokyo Brandon, I want to stay on that game. We'll move on to A's Nats because at least me personally, I didn't have a ton more to add in that doubleheader. I think there's going to be a very competitive doubleheader between the Rays and the Red Sox, but I do have opinions on this Nats A's game. One of the things I find interesting, Bryan said Cavalli hasn't pitched in a while. Also, he's been sort of outspokenly upset about how things went down with the Contreras thing. If you missed that, there was a whole thing, where you could go look it up. I won't go super into it, but the point is he kind of has come out and said it's really bothered him since it happened. Obviously he was very sorry for what he did, but it's I read some of those comments and I'm maybe in his own head a little bit here. The A's are a team, Tokyo Brandon, that we're so cold going into the break, so many injuries, just playing the worst baseball of their season that I think the break could really help them. And you're going to get the call up of Tommy Tanks today, Tommy White, one of their top prospects, the never-ending list of top prospects that the A's have. They're bringing another one up to bolster this lineup. So A's Nats to you, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with Bryan here. Two bullpens that just are not good. Actually, I thought Washington was one of the worst in the league, but I've got the A's ranked lower than theirs. And the A's going into the break, they couldn't hit. But, hit the reset button here. We got two pitchers that are not exactly trustworthy. I got them both ranked right around mediocre. And Washington just was tearing the cover off the ball going into the break. I don't think Washington's going to let up at all. They're one of the best team total overs in the first 5 in all of Major League Baseball. I don't see that changing. I couldn't agree more. I think an over here, over in the first 5, or even Washington first 5 over 2.5 would be a good play. Any of those would be a decent play on this one, in my opinion. And these two guys have a 5% play, so grab a double play and get theirs. And watch my KBO show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel.
I did want to touch on a little bit. You mentioned Tommy White. He plays first base and third base right now. The A's are missing 3 of their big bats coming into the season. Kurt Skeloff and Rucker. Denzel Clark is still hurt, but he's more of a defensive player. But they're missing some power, but they still have some guys in the lineup that can spray that ball around and hit well. Tommy White is a second-round draft choice from 2024. He's their 16th ranked prospect this season, and they expect him to play first base until they get the first baseman back, and then he may move over to third. But he's a guy that played here in Las Vegas, and I got a chance to see him play. Good player. And they also have brought up some other guys. They got a couple guys in the bullpen that they have called up from AAA. So they've needed those reinforcements because their starting pitching overall has been probably better than what we thought. Gage Jump's been really good. JT Ginn's been passable. Lopez has been good as of late, but Springs has not had that season that you would expect out of him. He's a big fly ball pitcher. I never understood the situation for bringing him in. into this ballpark the way they've got right now. And Perkins is a very good future, but he hasn't really turned it around yet. But they still got some really good hitters in this lineup. Shea Langeliers, Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson, who's been hurt a lot this year. He's not a power guy, but Kuroda Grauer has been a really good hitter for him. They got Cortez with a chance to play, Bolte. So they've got a lot of good young players on this team in Sacramento right now. They'll be able to get some runs off of this pitching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. JKG, that's Josh Kuroda Grauer, has been insane since being called up. He was insane since he from when he went from AA to AAA, he destroyed AAA, and they called him up kind of, he earned his way up with the injuries. He's played every day, 968 OPS since being called up. That's what I'm kind of joking. It's like the A's just always have someone. DeVries is going to be in Vegas now. DeVries is getting called up to AAA today. It's like, just a never ending line of like first round prospects on this team.
They can rake. That team can rake.
And they can, and every single one of them has like they draft these guys with like elite bat to ball skills where it's like they're okay if you strike out a little bit, they're okay with a little swing and miss. They just get guys that put the bat on the ball and hit it hard places. And so I'm with you guys. Over 10 makes a ton of sense here because you know what? Two teams that like everyone's like, oh, they got all the bullpen arms, the bullpens are rested. Go find me a good reliever in either of these bullpens. You're not going to find one.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you care about rested bullpens for these two teams? Wind blowing out a little bit. And you know what? Gage Jump, if he gives runs up, like Gage Jump will get beat by the long ball. He will give up the home run. You get a couple of homers with guys on base for the Nats. You could be at 4-4, 5-4 pretty quickly in this game. And of course, 5-5 is a win. So I this was a good find here. That was a good question on the over. And I think we did land on probably the best over for the day in this game right here for sure. All right, let's head back to the chat. Let's go to Alex Rand TV. I'll let you kick this one off. I felt like you got a raw deal last time Chris Sale pitched. We talked about Chris Sale, and then the rain ruined his start. So it's almost like you can't even really judge his last outing or the Braves the last time he played because both starting pitchers were out after the third inning with the field basically flooding, and then they ended up finishing the game. So Sale will get his chance again here, but Alex Rand wants to know, do the Rangers have value on the +1.5 today? Rangers Braves to you. How do you see this one?
No, I don't think so. But we talked about this on a show right before the break. Cal Quantrill is not as bad as everyone thinks. And he had a really good start his last time out, right when we pumped him up a little bit. So he's one of those guys who will eat innings quietly and is not terrible. He was only terrible because he was in Colorado. But he's one of those guys. I mean, he can hold it down a little bit. I mean, I got on a scale of 1 to 30, I got him ranked 13, so it's not terrible. He's kind of like your boy Patrick Corbin, got a bad reputation, but actually when he actually goes out there, he puts quality starts up here and there. So bullpen wise, I got them both pretty even, right around mediocre. Hitting, I got these teams pretty even as well, 113 and 114. The big difference here is Chris Sale. I think it's going to be hard for the Rangers to get runs here. And I think Atlanta will probably get a few past there. Not enough for me to bet it. Come to think of it, that +1.5 might be a decent option if you're getting a good number on it. This probably should be a pretty tight game considering the bullpens and the hitting fairly even. So yeah, I think that would be decent value. I won't bet it though. What do you guys think?
So I'm going to give an answer no one's going to like. Do I think the line is value? Yes. Do I think the Rangers are a good bet? No. So I think that there's probably some value in Rangers +1.5 at that -120. Do I think that that's a great bet today from a handicapping standpoint? Not really. I kind of think I kind of like the Braves here. They were a team, Bryan, that, really had a bad June. I think like maybe doesn't show up as much in the win-loss rec column, but that team didn't really hit at all in the month of June. And I kind of think you missed your chance to really fade this Braves team. And like Quantrill, yeah, he's a veteran journeyman guy, like good guy to have on your team. I don't know how great he is. Like I wouldn't be that surprised if the Braves knocked him around. And then Sale is probably going to pitch deeper in this game than he did last game. Of course, he was out by the third inning. So I lean toward the Braves, but I don't know if there's any value on the Braves side. Let's see what Bryan has to say about this one.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about Cal Quantrill as I am Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore is just, I thought when he came here, he'd be, this is always a good pitcher's ballpark the last few years. I thought he'd be able to turn it around coming over from Washington, which is a pretty good hitter's ballpark. It hasn't been that way. On the season, he's okay, but he's really fallen off a lot lately. And Atlanta's getting some of their guys back. I saw that obviously their best player, Acuna, is taking some games in spring, or excuse me, in the minor leagues. So he'll be back very soon. And they've got some bats that should be back in the lineup. You know, they've gone. Baldwin hasn't done anything since he came back, but I think we've seen enough of him to know that he's a good ball player. So the Braves, the Braves have not hit lately, but hey, the Braves are going to be a pretty good hitting team when it's all said and done. I do like the Texas bullpen, but I like the back end of the bullpen more than the longer relievers. So if Quantrill, if they can get 5 innings out of Quantrill here, I think it'll be a decently close game. You know, the total is, I believe, 8, right, in this one. So they're not expecting a whole lot of runs here. I think a lot of that is they don't expect the dog to score much. But I think Texas can hold into this game a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to take the 1.5 either. When you get to a team like Atlanta, they can score in bunches. They've got a lot of power on that team. So am I going to lay $2 on Atlanta? No. Am I going to take the 1.5 with Texas? No. So it's a game that I'm probably not going to get involved in.
Yeah, maybe like if Atlanta goes down early, maybe throw something on them live to win the game if you can get it closer to like a pick. Here's my thing with the Braves. We talked about this team and their lineup earlier this year, and I was like, this is the bottom of this lineup. You can't possibly be laying prices with the bottom of this lineup. They've kind of addressed that a little bit. Jim Jarvis and Brewer Hicklin down there in the 8-9, if that's what they're going to continue to do, is so much better than, in my opinion, than what they had a month ago. Whoever was like 7-8-9 a month ago for this team was really rough. And last on Sunday, 7-8-9 was Austin Riley, Jim Jarvis, Brewer Hicklin. That's a huge improvement over what they were trotting out there 7-8-9 like a month and a half ago, or like a month ago. So I'm kind of in on the Braves coming out of the break. I wouldn't fade them here, but to answer the original question, Rangers do have a little value at that price.
Let me ask you this, since you follow the minor leagues.
Yeah.
Austin Riley has just been a disaster this year. He was a disaster second half of last year. Do they have somebody that they can bring up, a third baseman, to replace him? Because he's only there right now because they've got nobody else that I could see. Do they have somebody in the minor leagues that they could bring up and play third base?
I mean, the guys in the minors that I thought were worthy of a big league roster spot were the guys they just called up. So that's Jim Jarvis and Brewer Hicklin. Now, I think Jarvis plays the infield. I don't know if they can slide Jarvis over to third. They probably can. I think he's more of a shortstop. As far as like, that's the thing right now, Gwinnett doesn't have much outside of those two. Those have been the two that have produced all year for Gwinnett. So I'd have to go back and like sort of look at their roster, but I don't know that they have any. That's probably why he's there still, because I don't know that they have a better option. And I think their solution was, hey, let's drop him in the order and see if he just starts to figure it out in the 7 hole.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to do that either. Yeah.
They got Nacho Alvarez Jr., who has had some play in the past. But he's hurt right now.
Yeah.
And and you take a look at that lineup in AAA. They're picking up every guy off the end of the bench. They got Roddy Tellez and Carlos Santana now. So if you're an old guy, you can play in the minor leagues for the Atlanta Braves right now.
Yeah, I noticed that when Santana got signed and Tellez was in there. I'm like, they're going. That's kind of, a couple teams are like that, where it's like they don't have many prospects. They're just going to find these like mid-30s guys that have been around a long time that maybe can platoon a little bit somewhere. But yeah, that's a tough, better day. Austin Riley's seen better days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's head back to the chat here. Let's go to, well, this is not a game suggestion, but shout out to Prop King. Says, trigger me, baby. Let's go. 5% play is up for tonight. Brian's got one as well. Check out that double play package. You can get them both. Dan says, is Acuna back today? What's the timetable for Ronald Acuna at this point?
Yeah, I think he'll be back this week. I don't think he gets back tonight, though.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. That would obviously be a boost for them. Yeah.
Does anyone know when Judge is coming back?
They were supposed to have figured it out over the break, and I haven't really heard anything.
Okay.
So
neither of us.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
Okay. See, we give out all kinds of information on this show.
Yeah, so we'll, game I want to talk about, I may make this my parlay league, but I know it's worth discussing. So we talked about the Pirates going into the break. They had a great weekend. They smacked around the first place Brewers as expected. The Brewers were not very interested in that Sunday noon game. They were already mentally on the flight back to Milwaukee when they gave up a 10-run inning and ended up being swept by the Pirates. But the reason I want to talk about the Pirates is, this is a team. Yeah, they won a couple games going into the break. I love this team coming out of the break. Reason being, they made some moves. They've already got active in the trade market. They went and got Jacob Gonzalez, who can slot right in there for Connor Griffin, which again is huge for the Pirates since the Pirates have had such a good lineup all year. I don't think there's a huge drop off, Brian, from Griffin to Gonzalez right now. Obviously, Connor Griffin is 20 years old. He's going to probably have a much better career than Jacob Gonzalez, but right now they're pretty close. And then yesterday they go and grab Robert Hassel from the Nationals organization, a guy that just never really caught on at the big league level. He was a highly touted prospect for a while. And the Pirates, but they bought low. They gave up some cash for him. They didn't really give anything up. This is a guy that, who knows, he might get called up, new environment, and have some success. He may start in the minors. But the point I'm trying to make here is the Pirates, I think, are playing for right now. They know they have a limited window with Skeens. They have all this pitching. Jared Jones, who's on the mound tonight, is back, and he looked really good in his last start. I'm so in on the Pirates right now that I kind of like them here tonight, but I need to know from the Guardians guy first if that's a good idea. So Pirates Guardians to you.
Well, we haven't done a show since last Sunday, and a lot of times I forget what we spoke about then, but I do remember we were going like head to head. I didn't have a play on Pittsburgh against Milwaukee, but you came out and used that as a play. And I said, I was questioning it a little bit. Congratulations, because I went to watch it. I went over to the local sports book and I went to watch that game, and you were right from the very first pitch. Milwaukee didn't care. And that was a great call by you. And I wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
I'm wrong a lot. And I was, even though it wasn't a play on Pittsburgh, you were right there for that. It was a great
Brian,
call.
you know what, though? You know what? Being wrong when you have $0 on the game is a great feeling, though.
Yeah.
That is
I don't mind being wrong on those.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Jones. Jones really did pitch well his last time out. Cleveland's offense right now is still a lot of missing pieces here. Obviously, Ramirez said originally he would be back the second week after the All-Star break, so he's right on the edge. That's the last I've heard about it. So I think in a week he'll be back, and that's a big bet for them. He's the team leader. He's the one guy in this league that is the best player on the team, and he shows it in the way he goes to practice. He's first one in, last one out. He's a great team leader for Cleveland. I'm glad they got that great deal to keep him around. But Gavin Williams is very good. If he can control his walks, and he has controlled his walks this year, he's a guy that is very strong here. I do like the Cleveland bullpen. They had some guys struggling going into the break. Zabrowski is a guy I love, and he was just terrible. Hopefully he's turned that around, because he's a late inning guy that they need. And they've got some good guys in the back of that bullpen. So, yeah, it should be an interesting game. The total is only 7.5 in this one, so they're not expecting many runs. So, if you can get – I'm assuming the team total – let me take a quick look here at the team total for Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's sitting there at 3.5 under 120. I wouldn't mind playing Pittsburgh to get to 4 runs here. Williams is a guy who takes sometimes he's off a little bit, and this Pittsburgh bats. I mean, look at some of the guys that they didn't really expect to do very well. They've done terrific. The third baseman's been great. They brought up, the guy hitting for all the power now, the young guy, and so they've got a lot deeper lineup than what they had earlier in the season, and a lot of guys they brought in the offseason have having really good years. So from a 1-9 lineup, Pittsburgh is so much better than Cleveland is right now.
Yeah.
That even though I like Jones and I like Williams, I think having that 1-9 lineup is definitely going to keep Pittsburgh in this game. And so I'm either leaning Pittsburgh at maybe a plus 112 or something, or playing them over the 3.5 here. I think they get a few runs here against Williams.
Tokyo Brandon, I got to shout you out here because you have to go back to July 8th, but you like Jared Jones. I can't remember if you used an under or if you used the Pirates in some fashion, but he made history in that start. And I think he's the first person in the history of the sport to have a perfect game through 6 innings and be taken out of the game. So if you missed Jared Jones' last start, he had a perfect game going through 6 innings and they took him out of the game. Listen, that's just, you had a game that you benefited from that the other day with Yuri Perez coming out, and then the A's came back and got that plus 1.5 for you. That's just baseball in 2026. Jared Jones coming off of a major injury. They were not going to risk that. They just don't care. But I think it's notable that we talked about Jared Jones like being right there, ready to turn the corner, and he shut the Braves down to the point where they didn't get a base runner off him for 6 innings. So 9 days since that last start, are you back on Jared Jones here?
Yeah. So this is where we always talk about, casual baseball bettors are going to look at ERA and say, oh, this guy's better than this guy. This is one of those cases where the numbers on the surface can be a little bit deceiving, because if you just look at straight ERA and win-loss record, you think, wow, Gavin Williams is going to dominate here. But take a look a little bit deeper. If you look at the expected numbers, I actually have Jones ranked 5 spots higher than Williams. And I have the Pirates lineup ranked almost 20 spots higher out of 30 teams than the Guardians. So it would be Pittsburgh or nothing for me here. I fully agree with Bryan. I think 3.5 is a little bit low. And again, if you look at my Twitter X, I put the pitcher matchups up, and Gavin Williams ranks dead last today. He's allowed a 901 OPS against these batters in 23 at-bats against. Small sample size, but it does show you. And like Bryan alluded to, Gavin Williams in the past was a chronic walker. This year, he seems to have fixed that a little bit. So take that with a little grain of salt. But in any case, I would either take a Guardians under, a Pittsburgh over, or Pittsburgh on the money line for plus money would be the way I would bet this one. Bryan?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out this Pittsburgh pitching staff right now is looking really good. Keller's the one guy that we have concerns about, but they've got some guys in the minors. Hunter Barco has come up. He's pitched a little bit out of relief for them, but he's a guy that was a second-round pick in 2022. And this Thomas Harrington, he was a first-round draft choice in 2022, and they really like him. So they've got some guys in the minors that they can come up and really help them as the season goes on here. Maybe try to limit some of those innings from some of their younger pitchers. So, yeah, I really like the future here in Pittsburgh. And it's nice to see – I'm from Cleveland, but Pittsburgh and Detroit and that just general area, it's nice to see these teams being competitive. Mm-hmm. And I know it's been a long time since Pittsburgh Pirate fans have had some success. I hate the Steelers, but I love the Pirates.
All right. Since the Marlins play went so well, I'm going to do it again right here. Pittsburgh to make the playoffs is plus 250. That's laughable. It should be like minus 110 in my opinion. So we'll take that right now. If you don't have Pirates futures yet, I think you can bet plus 250 to make the playoffs. I think you can also I wouldn't take them to win a division because I don't think they're going to overcome a 9.5 game deficit to the Brewers. But listen, if this team can get in the playoffs, we just talked about all those pitchers. There's actually 2, Whitgreave and Christian Curtis are at AAA. Those are 2 other options. And then they're sitting on Seth Hernandez right now, where it's like, Is he coming up this year? Probably not. But if the Pirates were in it going into September, would they not bring him up like the last week of September, like very Adam Wainwright-esque? Because like he's probably the most highest upside pitcher in the entire minor leagues right now. He'll likely be at AA within the next couple weeks. But like if the Pirates are in it, that dude's going to get to step on a big league mound this year just because he throws 100 and he's got more upside than any pitcher in Major League Baseball. So I'm going to use the Pirates today in the parlay. I haven't played this for clients yet. And it's because, like, listen, like, I think this is going to be a really good game. I like Williams. I love the way the Guardians play baseball. So it's like, I'm not dying to fade this team, but I'm very all in on the Pirates. And I don't think they should be plus 115 here. That's my biggest sort of thing with this game is I think this should be closer to like minus 105 Pirates. And you're getting plus, is that what we're getting right now, Brian? Plus 115?
I see the highs of plus 115, lows of plus 109. I see a lot of plus 112s out there.
So here's what I think you should do. I think we're going to put the Pirates in the parlay. I think you should take Pirates to make the playoffs plus 250 if you don't have something on the Pirates already. And I think you should take a flyer with them 40-1 or whatever best you can find to win the National League. Because if this team gets into the playoffs and you have to face Skeens, Ashcraft, whatever else they're going to drum up from a pitching standpoint, Jones, possibly Hernandez out of the bullpen, all these other good young guys.
Yeah,
like Mlodzinski came in. I think if he just gets his head on straight and accepts the role of being like the long relief guy, he came in the other day against the Brewers and threw like 3 or 4 great innings of long relief.
Yep.
This team has got pitching for days. They clearly can hit. I don't know why you're not buying team. Pirates right now.
Yeah. They're like really Miami almost. They're almost like Miami. Just well.
I think they're I think they're way higher upside than the Marlins.
And like Tampa. But what I mean is they're put together like those teams. They're not like blowing it away, but they're just well put together and tough to beat day in and day out.
Yeah, they used Montgomery the other day, and they've talked about possibly using him as a closer. The guy's got terrific stuff. He just hasn't been able to control it. But if he can find it, I mean, there's your blow away guy in the 9th inning.
Why couldn't, like, Colin makes a great point. There's so many that I'm forgetting guys. Like Bubba Chandler throws 100. What if he figures out how to throw strikes? What if you decide Bubba Chandler's like your 7th or 8th inning guy in the playoffs, and now after your starter, you can have him come out and just throw 101 and just wipe people out.
Ashcraft,
if there's
Chandler.
So much upside, it's insane.
Shut down. Absolutely.
We talked about the A's earlier. This is a very similar thing with Pittsburgh. They've been bad for so long. We saw that out of Houston. Houston was so bad for a long time. They got all those great draft picks, and then Houston had a dynasty. I could see that happening for these two teams if they got good management. That's another concern is Pittsburgh, and we'll see what happens when they get to Vegas. But the management has not been great in the past. But if they can get some management that's going to spend some money, I'm fans of these programs.
It's like 1976 all over again.
and Slick Vic, it's amazing how many I've talked to people that are like follow Major League Baseball, that are tuned into Major League Baseball. It's amazing how many people don't realize that the Pirates have been a top 5 hitting team in the league all season, literally from the first day of the season until now. They have been
they're the same way. Yep. They're just flying under the radar. And we're making money on them all year long.
That's how you make money, though. This is how you make money, is taking guys like Ashcraft that the books don't, haven't fallen in love with yet. They've fallen in love with Wheeler. They've fallen in love with Skubal, but they haven't fallen in love with guys like Max, the guy for Miami.
Yeah, Max Meyer.
Yep. Max Meyer.
And Russell.
Ashcraft. These kind of guys.
This comment right here is why it's so important that the Pirates unload the clip this year and go for it. Because you're right. Paul Skeens is probably not going to re-sign in Pittsburgh. So they have a couple years. They just have to go for it. That's why I feel like you have to have this bet in your futures portfolio if you bet futures. And we'll throw it in the parlay here today. I could talk all day about this team and their young prospects, but we got to get out of here at some point. So Tokyo Brandon, where are you looking to go with the parlay to close it out?
Yes. I am going to go with a game we have not covered yet, I believe. The last time I said that, we had already covered it. I am going to go with my Albatross team, the Padres, and the Royals. So we got Lugo going against King. And like I said earlier, on my Twitter X, Tokyo Underbar Brandon, I put up my pitcher matchup rankings, and Michael King is near the top of that list against these Royals. He's held them down to a 491 OPS and 31 at-bats against. That equals about 3 starts. So it's a decent sample size. I'm sorry, it's probably 2 starts. So it's a good sample size, and he's held them way below 750. Their team total in the first 5 is 2.5 for the Royals, and I don't know why. I don't think they're scoring 3 runs on Michael King in the first 5 innings. Although I do have Kansas City ranked fairly high in current form, but like I said, after pushing the reset button, current form means very little. The Royals have been very up and down. I had them near the bottom at one point in the first half of the season, and then right before the break, they caught a little bit of a fire. I don't think they're going to catch any fire against King. Can I use a first 5 team total for my parlay leg? If so, I would like to use the Royals under 2.5 in the first 5 here. I think it was minus 130 where we saw it.
Yeah, I'll kick this over to Bryan, and he can give us his thoughts on this game and the price on that leg if he's got it right there. But TB, just to clarify, you want Royals first 5 team total
under 2.5.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm seeing under 2.5, so minus 120 right now. I will say the wind's blowing out a little bit in Kansas City. It's supposed to be a pretty good hitting game, but I think San Diego is a pretty good bet in this game. I know that they've still got some problems in the back of the bullpen with some injuries. We will have to see that all these teams have had the last few days off. We may get some guys back that we don't expect at this point. It's very early in the morning. All these games, other than the first game of the doubleheader for Boston, all come at night. So they may be able to get some of these guys back. We'll have to see. But I kind of liked San Diego in that game myself, and I thought that was a pretty good price. I much prefer the starting pitcher, King, over Lugo. Lugo's this year, he's not had the same luck as he had in the past. And Kansas City hit the ball pretty well going into the break, but still, you look at that lineup and they're not overly impressive. When you get Tolbert going on that run that he had, that was a lot of it, and we'll probably never see that again in his baseball career. So, yeah, I kind of like San Diego there.
Yeah, the Padres are going to be a buy for me in the second half. I started to talk about this the last couple of weeks. This is a team I think is going to benefit greatly from having a few days off to just like go home, regroup, come back, and one thing for them, the bullpen, obviously, it's huge for the Padres to have a rested bullpen. Even with some injuries, their leverage arms are as good as you're going to find in the big leagues. Mason Miller and some of their high leverage arms. So you get all of them here are available and have been rested. I think that helps. But the thing that for me the most with the Padres, Fernando Tatis, 714 OPS, Jackson Merrill, 628 OPS, Xander Bogaerts, 648 OPS, Manny Machado, 708 OPS. That was 1 through 4 on Sunday. That's essentially been 1 through 4 in the Padres lineup. I mean, these are all stars. This is not guy had one good year and he's probably capable of more. These are all guys that have been all-star caliber players, have done it for multiple years, are highly touted in terms of prospects like a Jackson Merrill and
Tatis.
And have I mean they're sitting there with 700 OPSs. Can that happen for 2 more months? For all of them? Maybe. Listen, one of those guys is probably going to have a big time down year. Okay. But are all of them just going to have 700 OPSs this year? And it's just hey, we all had the worst year of our career at the same time. That's why I got to buy the Padres. I think one of those, or maybe 2 of those guys are going to go off and it's going to change the the complex of this team. So yeah, I can't disagree with, and I like Michael King, TB, so I like your pick here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, Trig and I both have 5% scoring today. Bryan has been great in his Japanese baseball. He's got to play up today in Major League Baseball, I believe, and you can get all those right now. You get great packages, extended packages. I'm on an 11-1 run on my 4 and 5% plays, 80% on my 5%. So. Yeah, it's I didn't do anything over the weekend. I wanted to clear my head. Didn't do anything with the home runs or the All-Star game, any of that stuff. To be honest with you, I don't know how those guys are able to handicap that. So I'm not going to do something I don't feel comfortable with. I'm on a great run. I think we're 42-18 or something overall. So yeah, we're still hot, and I'm loving the card today.
Yeah, I'm with you. After the Pirates play, which was my last play of going into the All-Star break, plus 109.69 units in 2026, and 64.14 of those units have come on the bases. I'm up in all three leagues. So MLB, KBO, AAA, I'm ahead in all of them. I love a spot in MLB tonight. Made it a 5% play. You can get that on the double play. And TV, go ahead. Let them know what you got going on.
I got to tout myself too. I'm plus 91 units 2026. And KBO, Red Hot, and Japanese baseball, I'm on an 11 and 2 runs. So I would recommend getting a double play and getting Adam and Bryan's 5% play, because I have just a regular MLB play. But watch my KBO show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel after you cash these two guys' 5% plays.
Yeah, and if you're like hunting big plays, use the double play on Bryan and I, and then do the three days for 6 days for Tokyo Brandon, because I assume he's probably going to have something big at some point within the next week. So that's probably the best way to do it. So there you go. All right, great show today, guys. Glad to be back with you. I missed you guys the last couple days. Someone was I filled in on WagerTalk today yesterday, and like someone in the chat was like, he hasn't been able to talk for 3 days. Of course, he's just going on and on about this.
And
game.
Bryan couldn't sleep last night. He was so excited.
I was excited to do the show again. Talk baseball.
We're happy to be back.
Yeah, we're back, and we're back every day, pretty much the rest of the way, right through the World Series. So parlay right around even right now. So hopefully we can start the second half off with a bang here. We are going Yankees on the money line for Bryan, minus 105. I'm going to go with Pirates on the money line, plus 115. And Tokyo Brandon is going Royals first 5, team total under 2.5. That's minus 120. Royals first 5, team total under 2.5, minus 120. Pirates plus 115. Yankees minus 105. That's your 3-teamer for today. And the 3 of us will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Remember, we're an hour later on Saturday ahead of last call. We'll see you guys then. Have a great day.